Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you with us today. If you want to follow along, we will be in the third chapter of James, and I'm going to give you a warning ahead of time. Uh, Before we get started, James is going from preaching to meddling. He's going to get up in our business now. In the third chapter of James, um, he's going to begin to talk about the use of the tongue, how we use our words. Verse 1 says, My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. And so this chapter starts a new section, a new discussion, and still talking about temptation, but here we have the temptation of our language, of our words, how we use the speech and the various sins of the tongue that are so common for us. And so he's talking again about the tongue. He's specifically, I think, here talking about teachers, leaders who face an even higher standard. Because they are their responsibility, their job is to teach and tell others how they should be living, and therefore the teacher should be a model, should be living above, and so so that's how he opens this chapter, is warning us that are in leadership, that hold positions of teachers and leaders, that he says, receive the greater condemnation. Reminds me of the passage that says, "To whom much is given, much shall be required." Again, as a teacher, as a leader, as a preacher, we are responsible for again, or we are held to a higher standard and expected to be even better at monitoring our words, what we say, and how we say it than the average person. And I think we're going to see as well that there's implied here a warning, not only to those who are teachers, but to those who may want to teach or feel like that may be a calling on their life. That if you cannot control your tongue, if you can't control your words, if you can't stop the gossip, the lying, the slandering, etc., and we'll talk about some of these as we move through this chapter, then maybe you should reconsider the idea of being a teacher. If you're in that position and you cannot control your tongue, maybe you should consider getting out of that position. If you look scripturally, a teacher is an extremely lofty position. It is really, when you look, the apostles, be an apostle and a prophet, are really the only two roles that we see that really have a higher calling, a higher responsibility. And so therefore, those positions then carry quite again, a lofty standard and a high level of, to use James's word, condemnation if we don't. And so doesn't mean we don't teach, we don't avoid being teachers because of that. What it means is then that we teach, but we guard our words and our our tongues against that. And one of the reasons that is so important is because how do we teach? We teach with speech, we teach with words. And so the opportunity, the risk is great for us to misuse that opportunity, to misuse that position, and the teacher has I suppose you'd say, a higher chance of temptation to misuse the tongue. And so over the next few days, we're going to look at four things that all of us need to be aware of about the tongue, but specifically or especially teachers. And so this morning I'd like for us just to begin with just this verse, and maybe between now and these next verses, again, where we look at these four specifics, you will pray and you will ask God, as James said at the beginning of chapter 2, for wisdom. God, show me, enlighten me in how I'm using my tongue, my words. Am I using them correctly? Where do I need to rein my words in? Where do I need to be more careful? That Lord, just show me and enlighten me, because particularly if we are in a position of leadership, he says we face greater condemnation. Something very serious to consider this morning. Have a good day, and we'll see you back here first thing tomorrow morning.